Hey there folks, welcome back to the final episode of the Camperpod build. She is done. She's completed, and I must say she's pretty nice. What I'm going to do today is give you a walk around the outside and a walk around on the inside to show you what the final product looks like. But before I head outside, I just want to show you something. You may remember these. These were the initial plans that my wife developed for the camper. This is the flooring. These are the knee walls and the wings. The side drawings. I followed these religiously with a few tweaks here and there. This here is the roofing system. Roof trusses, you might say. This is the back end, the door. This is the top here. As well as this is the front end with the hatch. So now let's head outside and start the tour. We started the build with tracking down a trailer in order to put the camper pod. We were in between aluminum and galvanized, but our main thing is that we wanted a solid steel bed, torsion bar suspension. So we got this particular model. It's a Stirling made by the folks at Westbrook. We got it at a local big box store. It's 5x10. If we had have gotten aluminum, which we would have gotten something similar to this, it would have been like double the cost. So we said, okay. So we went with this one, and actually the galvanized one was only about 200 pounds heavier than a comparable aluminum one. Timelines. Well, I don't know how many messages I got from folks saying, hey, that's taking you some long time to build that trailer, or I'd have that built in a lot shorter time than that. Well, I've got 100 videos that I've uploaded that you can go and watch regarding the completion of the camper pod. And were they all full days? Of course not. I work a 9-to-5 job, Monday to Friday, like most of you out there. So I had evenings, weekends, vacations, holidays in order to work on the camper. So is every video a full day? No. They range from a full day, a long full days, to a couple of hours. So if you look at, say, 5 hours, average 5 hours per video working, times 100 videos, that's 500 hours. You take out, say, 40 hours per week if you work at it like a regular job. So that's about, say, 3.5 to 4 months in just pure building time. That does not include sourcing material or picking it up or returning stuff. That's just pure build time. My wife spent a lot of time sourcing materials, tracking them down, lining them up. So it would have taken longer if I had done that as well. But pure build time, straight build time, if it was Monday to Friday, would have been, I'd say, 4 months. But it took us a year to do this when you're working full time. Looking at the windows and doors, got these used when we were looking for them. Couldn't find them anywhere on Marketplace. So when these popped up, we jumped at them and got them home, and we had to totally disassemble them and reassemble them with new hardware and all that sort of stuff, just to make sure that they all work. And then funny enough, after we got these, then loads of them started showing up used, but that's normally the way it is. Also on the outside, we've got these Strapino straps. These hold down the trailer, or just hold her in place while she's moving around. What else have we got? We've got, spare tire up front. I actually had to make a custom tire holder out of threaded rod to go on here because I couldn't find one to fit. And spare tire, we got that from Princess Auto. Same thing with these jacks here, these stabilizer jacks. Got those from Princess Auto. They're rather overkill for this small trailer, but they do keep everything from moving when we're stopped, and especially when it's windy. And this cool graphic, my wife got this somewhere, not quite sure, but we wanted some sort of dandelion type of thing. Got it there on the side, there on the front, sort of like a carefree sort of thing. We're going where the wind blows us. Hey, We can change the graph. These peel off, so we can change it next year if we want to go with something a little different. The exterior is actually made from a product called ACM, aluminum composite material. It's basically two little tiny skinny thin layers of aluminum sandwiched, sandwiching a piece of, I guess, some sort of plastic. Side sheets were 5 by 10, and the other sheets that we had were 4 by 8. This corner RV trim, got that here locally at Country Trailer Sales. I got a video dedicated to installing this because I was kind of freaked out on how to install this stuff because I'd never seen it before. Couldn't figure out a video how to do it, but I did it. It turned out quite well. It was a devil to get home. It was like 16 feet long, and my other utility trailer is only 8. I did manage to get it home. You may be wondering why there are no, screws or anything on that. It's because we have all this attached with VHB tape, very high bond tape. That stuff is amazing. In one of my videos, I show the actual strength of the tape itself. A little tiny 1-inch strip can hold a lot of weight, and like on each side, we've probably got like 20 feet of it. It's amazing stuff. Framing is made from construction grade lumber. I got like 2x10s and 2x12s and ripped them into 1.5 by 1.5 studs. I spent a lot of time picking lumber to make sure the grains were good and there wouldn't be much twisting. For the most part, I was good in getting that. We used a ton of 2-inch and 2.5-inch construction screws to hold everything together, all pre-drilled, as well as little dots of PL Premium to make sure that everything is going to be held in place. Insulation, we used a foil-backed foam material, I think 1-inch and 1.5-inch inside to give it, a little bit of warmth when the weather would get cold. So what were the most difficult parts of the camper build? I'd say anything to do with that curve behind me. The easiest part of the curve was actually building it out of wood. I had thin strips of construction grade lumber that I laminated using PL and staples. That was relatively easy, a little bit time consuming, but everything else with regards to the curve, both inside and outside, was a little challenging. Took a lot of thought. Another piece was actually all this aluminum that you're looking at. All that. It wasn't difficult, it was just time consuming and tedious. My very first piece of aluminum that I bent, wasn't the best, but the very last piece, it was a masterpiece, I have to say. There's a lot of bends on it, and it just went into where it had to go perfectly. One thing that I thought was going to be a lot harder than it actually was actually getting the camper from the inside the garage on the dollies into the trailer itself. It took 17 minutes besides setup time to get it in, and it fit perfectly. Before I head inside, I'll show you what we've got in here. This hatch is quite handy. It keeps everything together and allows a little platform here so we can get inside of our hatch. So inside this hatch, this is where we've all of our electrics. We have a All Powers S2000 power box that goes in right there. We have 2 circuits of AC, regular electric, which are those 2 orange wires. They plug right into the box. And those 2 bus bars that you see in there, that's for our DC. That plugs into the box as well. But right now, I've got a 12-volt Milwaukee battery up there just to power the lights. We got those as kind of backup. We got some, and we've even got lights in here. Those lights actually came from a company called Nilight. What else we got in here? Oh, this is just some wood and a barbecue that I'll show you a little bit later, and a box of tools to fix things along the way. So, oh yeah, before we move inside, I just want to show you these hubcaps. My wife looked long and hard for a set of 13-inch hubcaps. She managed to find these at Canadian Tire in a surplus. They were like, I think maybe $6 or $8 for 4 of them. 4 of them. And so now we got 2, and we got a spare, and it really looks nice on the trailer. So now Now let's move inside and I'll show you the really cool stuff. The tools used. Well, over the last 20 to 30 years, being a DIYer and a bit of a woodworker, I've amassed quite a selection of tools over the years. So if you don't have a bunch of tools already, you might want to add a chunk of change to the project build to get the tools that you need. Because what I used a table saw, a miter saw, a band saw. I actually used two miter saws, one for aluminum and one for the wood. Hand tools, they were, most of them, like 90% of them or more, were battery powered tools. I had drills. I had 3 at one point in time, like one for the bit, one for pre-drilling, and one for countersinking. I used a router, a hand router that I got. I had to purchase that because I didn't have one, a small one. Jigsaw, what else have I got here? Planer, circular saw, as well as a reciprocating saw. Used all those. Hand tools, screwdrivers, plane, clamps. I used a lot of clamps. If you're attempting such a build, get a lot of clamps if you don't have them already, as well as hand saws. Lighting was important as well. I never realized until I got about halfway through the build I should have put on a headlamp earlier, because that allowed me, because I was working inside here, inside the garage, light wasn't the best. So I had a couple of portable battery powered lights that I moved around, but the headlamp was probably the best. So that's it for the tools. But before I go inside, I'll show you our gate. This is normally a gate that you use, say, to run up, ATVs or garden equipment, that sort of stuff. But we use this as a walking ramp, and we have this heavy-duty grippy tape put on there that is quite grippy. When we're driving, this just folds up and latches in place. I won't do both sides, but that's kind of what you're looking at. And eventually I'm going to get some sort of wireless backup camera to go in here somewhere, so we can have a view from behind. But right now, this works quite well. And now let's move inside. And this is our entranceway, porch, wet room, bathroom of the Camperpod and their storage. First thing you may notice is this aluminum material on the walls and on the ceiling. This is actually an aluminum jacketing, has a vapor barrier on the back, and it's dimpled. It's a product made by JM, and it's usually used in the HVAC industry. It came in a 3-foot by, I think, 120, 110-foot roll, and it covers most of the inside of the Camperpod, and I had to bend each piece by hand. Next, you'll notice this white stuff, white and black stuff, as well as down here, sheet material. It's made out of polypropylene sheet plastic. It's called Foam Light, and we got this from a company called Rochling. The white stuff is 6 millimeters if memory serves, and the black is 12 millimeter. And these gray sheets are actually doors. They're called a roll door, and they're made by the door. They operate much the same way as blinds. You can get them custom made for your application, and they're relatively easy to install. I've got another video on how we install these, but they hold in place, and when you open them, this one here covers our storage area, where we've got some shelves made out of ACM and some baskets there with clothes and other odds and ends. We also have a shower pan down here. It's sort of like a tub. That's a collapsible tub. So that is all hidden by this roll door. Simple as that. That will lead us into the main living area of the Camperpod that I will not go into just yet. And if we head up this way, we can see a rocker panel light switch thingy that we got from the folks at Nine Light. What we got from them was a lot of DC stuff, including this rocker panel, the fuse box, which is just in behind this wall, as well as some DC outlets, like this one down here, We also have a couple more outlets inside the camper pod there. This switch controls all the lights as well as the fridge if we go to plug it in, and the fan if you go to install it. Those are optional that we've got wired up just in case we need it. It shows the voltage. Well, right now that little Milwaukee battery is down at 10.5 volts, but it's still powering the lights, as you can see. There's also resettable fuses, as well as in this particular one, we've got two USBs, which are quite handy these days. And we also have a regular DC, let's say, cigarette outlet. Speaking of lights, this one here, this one there, as well as all the other lights we have inside came from a company called Slavinko. This one here actually has a touch on off. Where is it? Is it on that side or is it on, no, it's over on this side? We can actually turn it on and off. So in addition to having it on the switch over there, we can manually turn it on and turn it off. I'll turn it back on for now. Additionally, in here in the washroom, we have a cabinet with storage for toiletries, lots of other knickknack types of storage. My wife purchased this online somewhere. It's a USB powered faucet. This bowl actually came from a dollar store. We drilled a hole, stainless steel bowl, drilled a hole into it, has that running out. For water, we have 10-liter water bottles down here that connect to that. We didn't go with one huge water tank. We decided to go with smaller ones like these distributed throughout the cabin to more evenly distribute the weight. And then that pops down there. And plus they're easier to clean just in case we have to clean them. We have this as a toilet when needed. We put compostable bags in there and then dispose of them appropriately. And we have a shower, USB shower. We also got from Princess Auto, just in case we need to get a shower at any time, if there's no ponds that we can jump in and cool off. A couple of important tips that I realized throughout the build. I got 3. First one is do it right the first time. Try not to take any shortcuts. I did once, very last piece of framing that I put up. The board was a little twisted and a little bowed. I said, that's not going to impact anything. Anyway, when I got to cladding it, it took me about a day in order to square that up so the cladding will go around it. So do things right the first time. That's what I learned. Watch your measurements. At one point in time after we had it cladded, I thought, oh, how wide is the trailer? How wide is the camper pod? And I did some measurements and it looked like I had about 3/8 of an inch in order to get the camper into the trailer because I didn't take into account the cladding going on over the wood. So that took up a lot of space. So, measure 3 times, cut once. Make sure you got your measurements lined up. And the third and most important thing is set realistic timelines, time frames. Things generally take longer. Well, I find that anyway. That took longer than you expect them to take. And try not to get disappointed in progress. My thought is that any progress is progress. Some days you have better days, some days you have less than better days. But as long as you make progress with an end goal that's realistic, and at times you may have to move your project finish date because it just may not be attainable, and it's better to do a good job than a fast, shabby job. Now let's head inside the cabin. And this, my friends, is our kitchen, living room, den, extra space, storage, whatever you want. This is it. Just quick pan around just to show you what we're looking at, and I'll get into a little bit more detail. So as you can see, again, the aluminum jacketing we have all along the walls. We have the foam light for countertops and doors. More doors right there. the lights from Slavinko right there. We have the two, I said gooseneck ones over there, as well as an under cabinet light. For our sleeping arrangements, we decided to put it in L shape. I'm sleeping in that direction. My wife is sleeping in this direction. And that absolutely gorgeous mattress is an organic hemp and linen mattress from Hemp Organic Life. It's absolutely amazing and comfortable as nobody's business. It's really, really nice. And these blinds that we got from Hay Blinds, they're actually blackout blinds. So when you pull those down, it blocks every bit of light pretty much and makes it quite cozy in here in case we wanted to take a nap in the daytime, which we did while we were off. We just pull those down and, you know, block out all the light, take a nap, and get back on the road. I want to show you how much storage we actually have in this 6x10 trailer. Well, it's in a 5x10 trailer, but you may have noticed from the outside that we do have a bump out of 6 inches on each side over the edge of the trailer, which gives us 6 feet. So she's 5'10" at the bottom, but 6'10" living space. Let's start up here. This was actually an exterior RV hatch that we turned into a door for a cupboard up over the kitchen sink. And attached to that, you know, we have, you know, storage compartment there, or temporary storage. Another spot here. And over here we have another cabinet. And up here we put little odds and ends, like we got this it's right here, this Foragers playing cards. We got these from the folks at Kickerland. We got this a multi-tool, as well as these little barbecues. This is one here that we've used. We also got a larger one outside in the main hatch. And this is our, I guess, one of our main storage areas. We have, down here, we have a portable bucket and a step stool. Here's our Coolatron cooler refrigerator. We haven't actually plugged this in to use it yet. We basically put our food in there frozen, and it can last for a long, long while in there before it actually melts. If you go on longer trips, we may start to plug it in, but right now it's actually working quite well as a cooler. But we had to add a latch, because one trip that we went on, the door actually opened, dumped all the contents on the floor. Lucky it was still frozen in containers, then closed. So when we came to a stop, everything was on the floor. So we had to add a little latch. This here is where we keep a lot of our foodstuffs. Like there's a vent for the Coolatron if we ever use it. And back there you can see the wire running up right there. Back here you'll see another Nylite DC port. And in behind this here, let's see if I can sneak it open. Oh, actually no, I don't want to sneak that open yet. But in here, back here is the fuse panel that we also got from Nylite, where all the wires run from down below, down here, from the S2000 power box, all the ways in through walls and up into here. When I did wire it, I did go next grade higher in DC wires, just in case we get another heftier power source or draw more electricity, more DC. But I just wanted to make sure that we had sufficient wiring in the cabin just in case we ever wanted to upgrade. We also used a product called Coreboard. Used a lot in the sign industry. You'll see a lot of like real estate signs and that sort of stuff made up of this material. We used that mostly in areas where we wanted some light material just for cosmetically covering things up. We got that through a local company, Fast Signs. Now, looking back underneath the sink, we have these cabinets. Again, that's foam light. We have storage in here. Those are water buckets there for like washing dishes. And we have empty buckets in there just for spacers and or if we go picking berries. We have these crates that have been mounted inside to store our sort of our DC and AC appliances. Close that one. Let me open this one. And oh, and there you can see some of the wiring that we tried to hide for the DC and electrical components. Close these back up. And underneath, let's say my wife's bed, we've got additional storage. Again, some more water containers in there. And over here, we've got storage, as well as a really neat med kit. We got that from the folks over at Wild Med Kits. They're in Canada. That's a pretty heavy duty first aid kit, because we're going to be doing a lot of boondocking in areas where there may not be much, medical services and that sort of stuff. So we just wanted to make sure that we had the right gear on hand to look after, minor stuff, and just in case, something happened. You can never be too safe. Cost and the weight. You're probably asking, how much did that cost to build, and how much does it weigh? Well, our tally, it's a little under $10,000 Canadian. Will it cost you more? Maybe. Will it cost you less? Maybe. But that's roughly what it cost us. And we live on an island, and a lot of products are more expensive here because it has to be shipped here. Weight, the trailer itself is 660 pounds. And as I did weigh every single item that went into the camper, that came out to a little over 1,000. So if a good estimate would be about 1,700 pounds. For appliances, we're using these from Dash. We did some research and we found these folks, their appliances were a little bit lower in wattage usage, which is important because energy usage in a small camper for what we're doing solar. We did solar electric. It's very important to keep the wattage down low. So we got this toaster, we got a hot plate, and a USB powered blender. So you charge this up, and I forget how many times you can blend stuff, but you can get at least a couple of smoothies or blending using one charge, and then we can easily charge it up using the Nylite DC components right there. You can recharge it there. And when we're using like the toaster and the hot plate, we plug it into, this is one of the two AC outlets that we have. We have one here, and we've got one out there in the wet room just around the corner. And we got these from Shopper Plus. This the sink catch-all over there, which is neat, and I think the garbage can, which is also very important, which is just inside the main door right there. I really love this. I call it the bionic table. My wife found this attachment somewhere online, but it goes up and down, and it swivels, and it rotates. So no matter where we are, we can place that. Usually when we're traveling, it's down low and it's kind of laid close to the mattresses. And when we're in here, we can raise it up high, roll it around and adjust it. Like when we're sitting down for breakfast or lunch or whatever, I'm sitting there, my wife is sitting here, and we can adjust the table as needed. I'm just going to give you one last pan around of the camper, just to show you here what it looks like. 6x10 living space, lots of storage for 2 people. I think, and lots of headroom here. I'm 5'11", I've got about 2 inches of headroom inside here. So anybody 6 foot. Probably feel a little cramped in here, but it fits myself and my wife, and I'll say a good portion of the public as well. And a nice matte piece of linoleum. We did some aluminum work on the corners. Forgot to show you that. Aluminum there, aluminum trim, that sort of stuff. So this is the Camperpod. And there you have it, folks. Our custom built, one of a kind, 6x10, environmentally friendly, solar electric Camperpod. If you're interested in any more details of how the build was, go back and take a look at some of my other videos. But now we're going to go and start to enjoy some of our wonderful province. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.